By the time you get somewhere, oh, you are going live already. Okay.
Yes, we are live. Hello, good evening. My name is Paul, and you're welcome to the Opinion Sharers. So, in case you are just joining us, please do share the link. It's very important. Let's invite other people.
Have you
You can
posted the
see
link?
you can just check your Facebook if that is possible for you.
It's not there. It's not yet showing.
It's not.
I'm
It
not
should.
seeing it.
Let me see. Maybe I will send you the link then. I'm going to check it out.
The last thing on your this was the update that you posted, even on your page.
Really? Okay, I think it should be there. Let me let me check because I'm also still trying to check it using my phone. So just give me a few seconds. Timlane, can you see it?
Yes, I think I have. You sent one to me, right?
No, I'm talking about this
The
particular
live
broadcast
one now.
on Facebook. This
No,
particular you do not?
no.
Okay, I've seen it. I'm sending it to you via your WhatsApp. So just click on it and share on Facebook, preferably. Okay, I've sent you it, and similarly, I'm sending it to you too.
Okay.
Okay, so please join us and share it. Thank you for sharing. We're going to be discussing the all important topic education. And I believe
Oh,
that education is super important as far as Nigeria is concerned,
Mhm.
as it is now. So let our guests introduce themselves. So can you please introduce yourself?
thank you very much. My name is Volutife Oluwadele, the village boy. Thank you.
Okay, Timila, you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Timilen Ogutuyaki. Thank you.
Oh, you're trying to copy me now.
Oh yes, I think it's better to not stress myself talking about a lot of things.
Okay, now. All right, viewers, you are welcome. My name is Paul, and you are welcome to the Opinion Sharers. This is the platform where we talk about things that are important, especially to Nigeria and Africa. So today we are going to be talking about education, the current situation of education. Personalities in the house today, and probably is a first class student from one of the best universities in Nigeria, graduated a few years ago, and currently pursuing a second master's in Canada. And Mr. Bolutufe is also uh, is an accountant, is a specialist when it comes to finance, business, and I learned is also perhaps doing a PhD. Is that right, sir?
You may not be incorrect.
Finance, business, and I learned is also perhaps doing a PhD. Okay, I'm hearing my voice from your room there, I think.
Yeah, pause it.
Timla, is it from you?
Yeah, it's from me. I just got
Okay,
what you sent.
okay. All right, thank you for sharing. So I'm going to go to these questions straight. But before I go to the questions, I have a few statistics that I want to read out so that our viewers and my guests can also have a peep into some of the things that we'll be discussing today. Um, Maybe some people might know and some people may not know, but let me share this. That only 43% of Nigerian university lecturers have PhD. So as at the last count, there are about 38,000 university lecturers in Nigeria, and 43% of them, only 43% of them are PhD, right? And you know, in Borno, in Yobe, and Adamawa, these three states alone, there are about 2.8 million children out of school in that three states alone because of security issues. In sub-Saharan Africa, there are about 32 million children out of school. In Nigeria, people believe there hasn't been a regular or stable figure. People believe it's between 12 and 13 million children are out of school as at March 2020. Now, 60% of the children that are out of school in Nigeria are from the north. Now, this one actually made me a little bit sad when I learned about it, and that is the fact that more children are out of school in Nigeria than anywhere else in the world. That more children are out of school in Nigeria, compared to what you have anywhere else in the world. All right. Don't forget there are countries that have 1.5 billion population. There is a country that has 1.3 billion people. Yet we have the highest number of out of school children. In 2018, Nigeria budgeted 7% of its annual budget on education. In 2020, it has gone down to 6.7%. Now, these are a few things that I needed us to bear in mind. And there's one other thing that's important that I think I may have omitted, and that is the fact that the education system curriculum in Nigeria is still based on the UBE, that is Universal Basic Education of 1981. And this is 2020. So, but our curriculum is still based on that of the Universal Basic Education of 1981. Now, bearing this in mind, Mr. Bolutife, I'm going to you first. Please, I want you to quickly do a review of the kind of education that you experienced in Nigeria.
So thank you very much. Permit me to first let us understand what is education. Education actually is a social institution. I mean, it's a social institution that the society provides for its member. For what? To give them important knowledge, to teach them basic facts, to give them job skills, and to teach them cultural and moral values. So that is basic education. And education actually, there are three types of education. Though in Nigeria, we always teach two types of education. We have the informal education, we have the formal education, then we have the non-formal education. In Nigeria, we teach informal and formal education. And unfortunately, as of today, it seems all these three aspects of education are actually collapsed, as it were. Now, what is informal education? Informal education starts with the parent at home, whereby you teach the child your mother tongue, you teach them how to use the washroom, how to clean up themselves, how to greet others, how to do all those things. Those are a kind of informal education. Then you have the formal education where you go, you obtain your certificate, you obtain your degree and all those things. Then the non-formal education, which is more like self-development, as it were. I mean, most of like what we are doing now, the kind of education we are giving through this forum, people learning from it, they are learning in a non-formal way. The type of education you know, you go to YouTube, you want to know how to cook burgeri, for instance. What you are learning is non-formal education, and we don't emphasize all this. How did the informal education collapse? Which I always say go back to 1988 when the liberalization of the banking sector, where parents no longer sleep at home, where parents wake up by 4 a.m. and return by 11 p.m. in the night. So the informal education suffered. So you see children now being trained by nannies, nannies that are not well paid, nannies that are not well taken care of, and they transfer the anger to the young child. So children are brought up without proper foundation in informal education. Again, in terms of non-formal education, the kind of education we get in the church, the Sunday school, all these things, people go to the Quranic school, those are kind of non-formal education. But all these are combined together to provide, to bring what we call positive change in an individual. It gives the individual the opportunity to also contribute meaningfully to the society. Having said that, I said earlier on the last program we had, in 1979, when the NPN was the federal government, controlling the federal government, we have the UPN in the Western Nigeria who had what we call free education. And the federal government came up with its own and said we want quality education, that they are not just looking for free education, they are looking for quality education. It was that process that led to the UB, Universal Basic Education of 1981. So it is a kind of a campaign promise of NPN in 1979. And like I also said the other time, it was also this that gave creation to JAM. Before we have individual university, individual colleges of education, individual polytechnic, having their own matriculation. So over time, they began first started with university only, but as today they've merged everything together, the university, the colleges of education, and the polytechnics. And sadly enough, not just only government institutions, they also coerce the private institutions into the same room, into the same silo. So you have JAM controlling everything, despite the fact that it doesn't have the capacity or the manpower to do so. But because this is kind of government imposition on the people, that itself, to me, is one of the major disservice to education in Nigeria. And now we don't have, I read the statistics was showing the number of people who have PhD. It's not even about those who have PhD or those who don't have PhD. There are two basic things in any profession: competence and commitment. So how many of these teachers, despite the fact they are inadequate, how many of them are competent? Okay, you are talking of the number of them having PhD. That's not a bit.
With you, I was still going to go into that, but first of all, I was still looking at you giving us an idea of what education was during your time, okay? And I appreciate the background and the history that you have given to us. Okay, so there's somebody from Nigeria here now, and I'm going to ask him to give us an idea of what's actually obtainable, what's currently happening in terms of education or in the education sector in Nigeria now. So I'm going to put you on hold because I cannot guarantee that he will be here for the rest of the program, but I can guarantee that you will be here. So let me quickly go to him. Tunde, I want you to please give us an idea, of what education really is in Nigeria right now.
Here we can hear us.
Can you hear me? I'm trying to unmute him. Today, can you hear me? Now you can speak. You can speak. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Fadu.
Yeah. Did you hear the question?
No, please, you have to repeat the question, sir.
Okay,
I couldn't hear the question.
I want you to give us an idea of what education looks like now in Nigeria, as from the perspective of a student and a teacher. Do you get it? I am not sure if you got the question.
It seems there's a network breakdown there.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll come back to him later then. Timlai, I'm sure you have a recent experience. So would you please share with us?
Yes, thank you for that good question. And I think I would like to acknowledge the background that he gave us earlier on about how things have changed and the evolution of education up till now in Nigeria. So I think from the I will speak from this perspective of a student, and I think I had a fair share of being among academics just towards the time I wanted to leave Nigeria. So as a teaching assistant in one of the post-secondary schools in Nigeria. So firstly, as a student, I think students do not get what they really need. And the saddest part of it is that they appreciate it like that. Most students, I have been there, in the sense that when a lecturer comes to the class and tells you, I am doing my PhD, I don't have time to teach you today. A lecture that is supposed to a course that's supposed to be taught for like 16 weeks. And out of the 16 weeks, each of the weeks you should be taught maybe like 3 to 4 hours in a week. And the lecturer would not show up for like 5 to 6 weeks, but the students enjoy it. They come to the school, they play and all that. I have been there. So this is the sad reality. Students enjoy it that way, not minding the fact that their parents are paying out of the pocket to get this education for them. So what I think is that, firstly, from the perspective of teachers, they are not well paid. They are not well taken care of. Many lecturers in Nigeria actually publish papers out of their pocket. There is no funding whatsoever. It wouldn't happen here. It wouldn't happen anywhere. For a lecturer that is supposed to be contributing to scholarship, to be paying to publish a manuscript out of his own pocket, no support whatsoever from the federal government. And if there is any support at all, then such lecturer will be maybe sent out on bilateral education agreements and all that. Many of them would not come back because they know the kind of toxic environment they left. And by the time they carry their baggages and say, I'm going, they are gone forever. And those ones that come back, sadly, they become a threat to those people that have failed to develop themselves, like senior academics that see a young PhD holder as a threat, like you have come with exposure, with experience, with a new experience, and they see you as a threat. So you would not even want to go back. You don't want to get killed. You don't want to get suffocated. You don't want to get frustrated. You don't want to go back. So these are the things that from the perspective of a teacher, like I have a lot of them that are frustrated, that are depressed just because they have chosen this noble career. And the second thing is that some of them are very hardworking. They are very hardworking, but the environment is not just healthy enough for them to thrive. So they are underproductive. They are not effective. They are not doing what they are supposed to do. Now, from the perspective of students, I honestly appreciate the background that he gave in the first instance, because because I see it resonates what we discussed earlier on when we discussed how education has evolved in Nigeria. I think in the last 2 months we discussed it about types of education. Like, just forget formal education in Nigeria for now. Now I can guarantee you that private institutions are doing very well. I'm not campaigning for private, but they are doing very well. And why? They are getting incentive for the bogus amount their parents are paying, that parents pay. They are getting value for it.
Similarly, wait, let me come back to you. Let me go to Mr. Bolutife. So I want you to look at education as a parent. If you are a parent now in Nigeria and your children goes to the public school, what do you think your position would be? I know that you have you have talked about the background, about the fact that parents go to work and they leave children alone and stuff like that. But then it happens in the West too. Perhaps it's even worse in the West because we have some other social supports that does not exist in the West. So I'm just asking, as a parent, just do a brief assessment of the education.
Thank you very much. I think the most important thing we have to recognize that as of today, public education in Nigeria has collapsed. So, and it has collapsed so almost irredeemably. When you go back to education, the foundation of education is the elementary school, what we call primary school. What do we have in primary school today? How many primary school teachers will even send their own children to public primary school? The simple principle of life is like, if I'm cooking a good soup, I should be able to eat from it, right? So, but now if I am a teacher in the public school and I send my own children to private school, what does that take me? What does that tell me? I am just there for the salary. I'm just there for the pay. Okay, just a few days ago, it's there on the internet, whether it is correct or no, I don't know, of the head of NUC showing off the certificate of his daughter in UK, graduating in UK. Just, I'm talking of undergrad, first degree, not master, not PhD. Now, you ask yourself basic question. If this guy is the head of NUC, Nigerian University Commission, and his daughter had to go abroad to go and study, first, how did he finance that education? We all know that the salary cannot finance it. So which means the budget for the 7% you are talking about budget for education, part of that money is taken by this man to finance his daughters, and every one of them are doing that. So at the end of the day, how many this percentage of the budget actually go to education? Now the other time there was a budget by the same NUC, then they said the budget is 85 million for cars and 20 million for research. So how do you get a good education through that? So buying car is more important than doing research. Timileyin gave a very, very frightening situation about what happens within the academics. But that is at the university level. But because we want to fix this problem, we have to look at the foundation. The foundation of education is the primary school. During our time, we don't have nursery school. We used to start school at 6 years, some 4.5, some 5. Because I know some of I was young. I finished secondary school before 17, but I was not the youngest in the class. And now you see teachers that are committed, you see teachers that give value, you see teachers then that give knowledge. Education today is devoid of knowledge. So public education is collapsed. So as a parent, if I'm in Nigeria today, I won't send my child to public school. That's the fact.
Okay, if you are a parent, you will not send your child to school, to public school. That's well. Let me see if Tunde would be able to contribute this time around. Tunde, can you hear me? Hello, Tunde.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. Can you please give us an overview of what education looks like in Nigeria, both as a from the perspective of a student and a teacher?
Obviously, I have to appreciate you for inviting me here. Uh, the issue of education, I think, is the bedrock on which all other problems we have in Nigeria is relying on. All the problems we see within our society is as a result of collapse of educational system in Nigeria. Of course, when I was growing up, like I want to share part of the thoughts of our guest, the writer of the thought from the village boy. Of course, when I was growing up, I used to have some teachers that they may really not be that vast in spoken English, but these are teachers who are able to communicate values into us, who are able to communicate solutions into us. Because education itself is all about providing solutions and ability to transfer that solution to the people that need them and to teach other people around to be able to provide such solutions. Not only the same solution, but ability to reprocreate and create new things. So now, if we are to look at the position of education in Nigeria, I think any right thinking Nigerian, average Nigerian, or let me say any Nigerian now, cannot say that is okay with the level of education in Nigeria. I have been opportune at one time or the other to be in the classroom, and I see the level of education we are talking about in Nigeria. That in fact there is nothing like education in Nigeria. When I served in, I think when I served in 2018, 2019, last year in Edo State, I can tell you categorically that in Edo State there is nothing like education, because both parents, the society, the children themselves, the school, the administration, the teachers, they are far short of what education should look like. In a situation where you have a school where uh, you are having two teachers in the school, where I served in the senior school, we have a principal, one vice principal, others are corpers, core members, and empower teachers. These are people who are not trained teachers. And at times, we now have to start dragging the school with students and court members. Again, in the junior school, you have only one principal, others are empower teachers and community teachers, individuals who are not trained. Look at the way we recruit our teachers. It's nothing to write home about. We don't even recruit the best of our teachers. The best of our teachers are on the street. The best of our teachers are in the farm. The best of our teachers are in the bank. What are they doing there? Because there is no job, because there's nobody to employ them, because that position is supposed to fill in classroom. Somebody is already working there because he have an access to the recruiters. Probably because he's a girlfriend to the recruiters. Probably because he's a family member to the recruiters. And we have the wrong people in the education sector. Again, when you look at the curriculum that we are pursuing in Nigeria, we are pursuing a curriculum that is not realistic, that is far short of what we want the people, what we want the society to look like. Right? Now, when you look at funding again, most of our academic institutions are not being funded again. In fact, recently, government now leave our academic institutions to themselves, to the mercies of themselves, that they should go and look for how to generate revenue for themselves, to fund themselves. This is far short of what academics should look like. This is far short of what education should look like. When you look at parents, you look at it from the side of the parents too. The parents, by all costs, want their children to pass. Education has gone beyond the issue of you must pass by all costs. It has moved to the level of you being able to provide that solution that the society needs. So today, if we don't want to deceive ourselves, what we have in Nigeria is not education. And I think that the government should have been able to declare a state of emergency in education so that we can have a kind of retool in the educational system.
Uh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tunde. I will come back to you. Let me go to Mr. Bolitife again. I am going to you because I want to talk about recruitment of teachers in Nigeria and training. And I'm talking about primary and secondary school teachers this time around. All right. When you said when you went to the school to school in Nigeria, there was no early childhood education. But today, I've actually, one of my research last year, stroke early this year, had to do with early childhood education. And when I read through some of the materials, I almost broke down in tears because it revealed to me the amount of what I have missed. The most critical time in the life of every child is age 0 to 6. So now, and I'm looking at, we won't have enough time for me to dive into the advantage or the benefit of it. But I'm sure you have children who have benefited from it. You can imagine the way an average child who has experienced early childhood education think, even as a teenager. The first time I got to Abu Dhabi, I was engaging with one young guy. He's about 13 or 14 years old. He reasons like a 40, 50-year-old man. All right. So now, and I'm not just talking about, somebody that has been to the university, just a secondary school student. So, sir, I want you to look at, what do you think about the process of recruitment and training of teachers in Nigeria? And the reason I'm asking you this question specifically is because I perceive there's a part of me, there is a bias. I admit that this might be biased. There is a biased part of me that believe that the generation before us, all right, they are the ones in government right now. And I'm not that young, but the generation before us, they are the ones in power right now. And perhaps some of people who are a little bit older than you, or maybe people who are your age mate, they are the education administrators. They are the ones who are recruiting. They are the ones in government, in the House of Assembly. Let's forget about the octogenarians, But people that are, what happened? What's happening there? And I know that you have also worked in Nigeria in management level. What's happening in that level? Why is it that these are the kind of people that we are committed, the future, our future? Why is it that we are committed in our lives into their hands?
Well, thank you very much. Let me first correct an impression. During our time, because we didn't have nursery school, doesn't mean we miss early child education. I took time to explain that there are 3 types of education: informal education. An average person here going to school is already grounded in the values. It's already grounded in the ethos of the society. It's already grounded in the value of hard work, in the value of respect, in the value of communal life. So that 6 years that we stay before we are formally enrolled to school was not devoid of education. Many of us who, maybe you have your father is a carpenter, you already know how to do carpentry. As a 6-year-old, I was already selling Lucas beads for my mother. I've written about that in one of my articles. I know I was already participating in the process. So we didn't lack education.
But sir, that is child abuse. That is child labor.
It wasn't child abuse. It was informal education. We were given informal education. So it was, you people call it child abuse, but most of us are grounded. Our foundation was laid within those 4-6 years that we are at home with our parents. So where we learn our mother tongue, where we learn all these values about life and about society, where we sit down our grandparents and we listen to stories. Those are good education. Those are good foundational education. But it's informal. It wasn't formal. So having said that, what is the problem wrong with recruitment? See, like the other guy, I think you said spoke about. There's a problem with recruitment of teachers. It may interest you that I'm a trained teacher. I trained, yes, I went to College of Education. I studied history and Christian religious studies. I came out. I couldn't find a job. I was writing social study lecture for somebody in K2. I mean, I will write he will give me a topic because I studied government in secondary school. I studied history at the College of Education. So I am a trained teacher. I am proud to be one. After 2 years, I couldn't get a job. So I got a job in accounting somewhere. Then I have to, look at myself. I said, what do I do? That is how I switched to go and write ICANN. Somebody said to me it was crazy. So that's how I became an accountant. Today I'm finding my way back to public policy because, I mean, that's where I think I belong. Because the problem is that the people who are even trained as teachers never get that job. They are never recruited to teach. So they now find job elsewhere. I know a few of my classmates, less than 10% of them are actually teachers today. Now, those who find no job, who knows nobody, or who still knows somebody somehow, are the ones that are even getting the teaching job. So the teaching job are 80% taken up by people who are not trained as teachers. The real trained teachers are somewhere else. I am one of them. I'm one of the teachers that was trained that Nigerian society frustrated out of the teaching profession, a profession that I love. But I still have to find my way around the classroom as a trainer because it's in the blood. So the recruitment is like, you have people, in those days, when you finish standard 6, going back to the basics, you come, before you 1 year, you come and teach primary 1, primary 2. Then after 1 or 2 years, you go to modern school to spend 3 years. You finish, then you spend another 1 year teaching people in primary 6, primary 5. Then you go to teachers college for 2 years. And you come back as full teacher. Then from there, many will go to College of Education, or when they are old, they go to what we call holiday, we call associate certificate in education, which most of the universities were running during long vacations. So you see teachers that are moving from being auxiliary teacher, as we call them, to become a trained teacher, to become associate, to have associate certificate in education. You see that progression. Somebody that has taken this profession, the noble profession, as a career path for him or for her. But we see now an average, you see 1,000 people coming out of College of Education, only about 50 of them getting teaching job. So the 950 remaining have to find a way for themselves, like I did. Imagine I have to switch from history to accounting. It was a tortuous journey for me, but I made it eventually. So that is the problem. That's the foundation. There is this wrong mix, putting round pole in a square peg, squeezing it anyhow. And of course, Tunde also talk about funding. Then virtually government literally abandoned public primary education. Then at a time when public primary was going down, so public school were still okay, they were still floating. So you see some children that were damaged at the primary level coming to this public secondary school. They were kind of brushed up. Some were able to still make it well. Then over time, public secondary school also started collapsing. Then gradually, public university also collapsing, which now has led to the emergence of private institutions that are now killing, making people breaking the bank, to finance the education of their of parents, literally breaking the bank to finance the education of their children. And if you know, I think I've read it somewhere is that most private institutions today, they are the net recipient of corruption proceed. Because parents, because they don't want to send their children to public school, they have to steal from the public to now finance their children in private school. So private school is the den of robbers. That is where most of our corrupt, the money stolen from our Commonwealth, that is where it is going.
Yeah, I will still want us to talk about that, but first of all, let me bring Tunde Timileyin to talk about corruption in education sector. Timileyin, corruption in education. All right, do it anyhow.
This is a very big question for a small me. But then I'm going to attempt it as much as I
Wait,
can.
let me say these few things so that you bear this in mind. All right, that is paid for certificates. All right, special center, sex for grades, and lecturers' note. You have to buy lecturers' note. Since I've studied abroad now, there's never been any lecturer that asked me to buy his textbook or the way we have it in Nigerian institution. Rather, they will buy textbook and download it, all right, the soft copy, and share it among all the students. But it's like it's a strange society altogether. Anyway, give us an idea, because I mean, share your experience.
Yes, so I think those things you listed, they are common in the higher institution, right? Buying course books, buying sets for grade and all that, and special centers anyway for secondary schools. So I think that is why we will always appreciate the informal form of education from our parents. Because in the first instance, so many parents, because they just as Mr. Tunde said, they just want their children to pass, whether they have the knowledge or not. They are ready to pay anything so that these children will just get their WAEC certificates, get over 200 in JAMB, and get to the university, and just go there to corrupt the few good ones. So I think it boils down to our society, the system itself. The system greases the elbow of corruption. The system the system encourages shortcuts. The system appreciates anybody that comes with the final answer and not the process. So I think it is still about the system, the corruption aspect of it. So and when we talk about special centers, the people that are doing these special centers, the organizers, the people that have these special centers, they are teachers. If you look at them very well, they are still teachers. So this still also boils down to having the wrong people in the sector. Because let me say a good teacher or a dedicated teacher that has done his or her best to bring out the best in children would not arrange for special centers. And now let us look at it from the financial or economic aspect of it. If these people are well paid, maybe they would not even think of having extra means of income. So all these things are interconnected, from bad leadership to the bad system to our personal convictions about values and all that. So it depends a lot on the system, on the government, the leadership, and even our parents and ourselves. So when we talk about the higher institution aspect of it and sex for grade and all that, is a very sensitive topic. But we cannot say that it is not happening. It is happening a lot. Even when lecturers do not want to do it, students even want them to do it. Some students, they even want them to do it. And this goes back to the informal education. Every single person you see on campus is a product of primary, secondary education and the informal. So whatever trait they are exhibiting is a product of whatever they have passed through. or that has been inculcated in them. And then when we talk about cost, it happens a lot. I think I really want to appreciate my my alma mater and Federal University of Technology Akure. This never happened there, but I know a lot of universities that if you do not buy course book that was single-handedly written or by the lecturer, you would not pass. And in fact, in some cases, it's just 40%. I think I experienced it when I was in the Polytechnic before I went to FUTA. I experienced that textbook. I didn't read anything, but just because I purchased it, I got 40%, I think. So what kind of education is that? And if I did not buy it, no matter how much I try, I cannot even have a B. That's the implication. So you are left with no choice. Whether you are going to steal that money or not is just to get it. So everything is kind of interconnected.
Okay, Timilai, let me come back to you. All right. Mr. Bolitife, still talking about corruption. How much has corruption eroded our society, as in almost every aspect, including the church, mosque, everywhere, education, government? I mean, how come?
So, like I said, one thing about education is why education is very critical in terms of this corruption and other issues. Like education is something that should bring positive change to the society, to human life and human behavior. So when society is going well, check at its education. When society is sliding down the slope, check at the root of its education. With the moment we lost it in education, we lost it out completely. So the moment we now replace meritocracy with incompetence and all that, then we know we will lose it. I was listening to somebody posted this Deola documentary of a professor of raw material research institute who was defending the budget in the National Assembly, and they asked, okay, what have you achieved in the last 30 years? And he said they have developed an equipment that can mass produce kilishi. 30 years of research. And it is beyond annoying. It is annoying. It is sad. I felt like crying. I felt like weeping. And I also read just in the last 2 days of the young guy who had the first class in mathematics, and he has to go back to farm in Ebonyi State. That shows that I mentioned 3 types of education. For that guy, I sympathize with his condition. But one thing is missing in him, which is the third aspect, which is the non-formal education, the self-developed education. If truly, I can't imagine me having the first class in mathematics, and I cannot develop something for myself. I cannot innovate something. I cannot think beyond going back to the farm. Again, we talk in education philosophy, we talk about nurture controversy. It depends on his background too. Background also is a kind of important role in such a situation. But thank God for social media, the guy is going to find his level now. A lot of people are already requesting for him. I'm happy for him. Thank God for the guy that who posted his condition. But this is kind of the thing that we have because we believe that you cannot achieve anything meaningfully in our society without knowing anybody. You can't even go to a wedding party and be served your love rice if you don't know anybody. It is that bad. If somebody invited me as a wedding guest and knowing the importance of the love rice in wedding, why can't I get one plate of the love rice freely because I'm a guest? So corruption is beyond imagination. And we have to come to a point to ask ourselves, do we want to continue like this? Or do we want a better society? So, and if we are going to have a change, we cannot focus, and I'm not focusing only on formal education. We have to look at informal education, we have to look at formal education, we have to look at non-formal education. We need these 3 combined together to be able to move the society forward. So I think I wrote an article in Premier Times where that I said we once had values. We once had values.
So
I attended a school between two.
when you look at towards way forward, what would you what major step do you think we need to take as maybe, I mean, looking at all the stakeholders of education?
Good. I'm happy you started with the issue of stakeholders. I was thinking over my bed the night that what is the solution? Now we have to now bring first. I think today said about declaring emergency in education. In fact, like we used to say jokingly, there is no need for alarm for control. Everything is already under alarm. So everything, so everything is already under alarm. So now we have to look at education holistically. Now we have to look at volunteering. What we are doing now is enough formal education. Let me give you an example. When I was growing up, they brought this other cinema, whatever they call it, to our school about the Nigerian Civil War. And then there was this guy from my neighboring town calling now you are real slate now. So they chew us out. They were in the war room, how they were taking decisions in the war room and all that. So each time I think of strategic management, my mind still go back to that program. It was shown us around 1972 or thereabout, just immediately after the Civil War. So now I have a group that I follow, though I'm not active. It's called Concerned Parents and Educator Networks. Now what people should be doing now is to harvest some of these videos and download them. Yes, you may not have data to watch them live. All this talk about education, bring this together or begin to ask people in various fields as volunteers to discuss issues as subjects and collect all this together and use this one as maybe as introduction to students in the classroom. All you need is just a computer and a projector now. With technology, I know it is going to be a lot of cost outlay at the initial stage. Let's all of us in and outside Nigeria who has value of quality education begin to contribute our own quotas, begin to discuss issues. For instance, you want me to discuss about something about accounting. Yes, I'm readily available to volunteer as much time as I can have to talk to people about accounting. I can still talk about my own district. I can still talk about every other thing that you want me to talk about. So we need volunteering. We need people who are not looking for money, but who are looking for the good of society, who want to give back by reviving the educational sector, by sharing our life experiences, by sharing those things that we know already with the people. I think that is one way out we can do it. And it's going to be non-formal this time around. It's going to be heavily on non-formal because you are not doing it, you are not, it's not a case of we want to good grade. You want, I think it was 20 or Time, they were talking about, okay, just pass, just score 200 in the exam. That will not be, the pressure of those one will be reduced. It will be a case of imparting real knowledge because the education is about knowledge. Education is not about certificate. Certificate is just the minute aspect of education. Unfortunately, in Nigeria as of today, we have equated education with certificates. Oh, I have so many certificates. Yes, certificate is good. I mean, I have some couple of them, so I wouldn't say it is bad. So, and I'm still pursuing some anyway. So, beyond certificates, let us get people who are knowledgeable in all fields together to volunteer to teach the younger generation, to teach them both informally and non-formally. Of course, we need to retrain our teachers. We still need, even at that, we still have to take care of formal education, and that is why I want to call on that NGO, the Concerned Parent and Educators Networks, to start looking for how they can create a kind of a database of people who can speak about various subjects and make videos and go and show, and collect this video and be showing to school. Those are the way I mentioned that I saw the cinema or whatever they call it then, I can't remember now, of the Nigerian military, how they were planning, how they were strategizing during the Civil War. Those things have lasting impression on me. I'm still talking about it today in 2020, something that I watched in 1972. So it is not
Thank
a
you.
case of A for apple, B for this cramming, we call it agberu. No, we have to be more practical about these things.
You
So
know,
then
you just
we should get our university now to start engaging professionals as adjunct professors, adjunct teachers. Let them come and teach, even on voluntary basis. So instead of then, because that's how we can break. I think Timile was talking about fear. Threats. Okay, when people go abroad, they study, they come back home. The other lecturer that are rusting away, they see these people as threats. Bring people from the private sector who have experienced this thing that we are teaching in the classroom. Remember, in those days, you will be a computer science student. You will graduate without seeing a computer. And you will now go to a time they say you should boot a computer, and you will know now how to boot it. So, but when you bring professionals that are in the field, in the insurance field, in the accounting field, in medical field, in legal field, let them come on weekends and teach the students. Let be part of 20-30% of the time of the student. So students will be forced to learn. Will be encouraged to learn. So not just then. If I have my way, I will eliminate this issue of handout. There should be no handout. Or if there should be handout, it should be free. They should legislate that no handout should be sold to anybody. When you are employed as a teacher, go to the classroom and teach. When you are employed as a lecturer, go to the classroom and lecture. So, unfortunately, somebody has written that she disagrees with us that with the one who said that students enjoy not getting enough education. See, some people just resign to fate. They say, okay, what can we do? If they are not coming, fine, so be it. So let every people of goodwill volunteer time, volunteer talent to build our education. Our government has no idea how to fix our education.
Thank you so much, sir. You know that this idea of arranging this non-formal education is something that I've been thinking seriously about, because in fact I've been thinking that some of the programs that we do on this platform, that if I am maybe in a few years time, when I'm financially buoyant enough, I'm going to erect a small structure in my village. I'm going to start it, just like a pilot project. Start it in my village first of all. Put a flat screen there and connect it with a system that will transmit this teaching, or this, because I believe these are teaching. These are knowledge that you cannot get in classroom. Okay, so just youths or children or parents or adults who might be interested in learning such things, should just go there and sit down maybe for 1 hour that we have this event, and just learn some uncommon things, because that's the small access that I have to the internet between the year 2006 to 2010 was what transformed my life. Ordinarily, if not for the internet, the exposure that I had between that period, I probably would be driving taxi in Nigeria now, or maybe in my village. I'm telling you, I am also a trained teacher, but there is no I wasn't properly prepared. Even though I was a teacher, I was a trained teacher, yes, but I wasn't properly trained. So if you compare the me of now and the me of that time, there's like it's like I have been reborn, So now let me go to Tunde, because we spent 59 minutes already. All right, and I told Mr. Bolutufe that we will not spend more than 1 hour. That was why I was trying to cut him short a little bit, but then I very much appreciate those points that you itemized. So I'm going to give Tunde and Timileyin some time to make some serious contributions in terms of solution. So, sir, if your schedule is on, you can just excuse yourself. We will understand. And if you still have some time, you know, I'm sorry that we will not be able to just cut it short now because we need to give them time. I hope you understand.
Okay, but since I've just preached volunteering now, so I will stay. But I'm still again. Let me
I
cut it
love
what
that.
I'm preaching. Yeah.
I think we need to actually do that as concerned Nigerians, because this is something that has been in my mind too, and I'm glad that you are bringing it forward, even as at a time like this. Honestly, this is something that I've been thinking about. I've been thinking maybe it's something that I could do on my own, but I think if we have a few people who are interested, that's just like you, just like me, it might not even cost us much. We can start it in the rural areas. Let's let them know that there is some uncommon knowledge somewhere. There are some exposure that that they can have access to. And they don't necessarily need to travel out of Nigeria because of the internet. And that's why sometimes when I look at the how expensive it is, internet is in Nigeria, I get angry because there's so much information out there online that people can access online, but then there's no data, or data is just too expensive, or even a few people, a few youths, young persons that have access to data, they go and use it to watch jokes. When you look at the page of an average joker in Nigeria or comedian in Nigeria, you see them having millions of followers. But then you have people that dish out content, dish out reasonable information that will make you reason like a 21st century citizen. You see, there's hardly people following. Anyway, let me not just I just keep quiet like that. Today, I want you to talk about the quality of education in Nigeria. In terms of, look at Mr. Bulutife talked about that guy who had a first class in mathematics. Honestly, I was just on my bed this morning as I woke up when I saw that news, and I felt bad about it. And he mentioned the fact that that guy he couldn't think out of the box. So, which means that guy may have been able to master all the tests that they gave to him and passed. Do you understand? But it doesn't. The non-formal education that is required, or maybe let me call it street smart. He probably lack being street smart. That's what because there are people who probably doesn't have a first class, and I'm not blaming him, but I'm just looking at a well-rounded education is what we need. It's not just that somebody have a first class. In fact, if you have a first class, there are people who might have a first class. You cannot defend it with the way education is in Nigeria. There's a place for these days. People are talking about self-esteem. People are talking about being self-aware. People are talking about confidence. These are things that the employers around the world, top employers around the world, are looking at. They are not just looking at your paper. Google, Apple, Facebook, they already are employing people who does not have degrees. Anyway, Tunde, what do you think about this one? With your experience in Nigeria, I don't want to talk about those people who have first class ability, who have who have all the certificate but cannot even construct good English. Anyway, I'm still learning too. Besides, English is not our first language, so it is permissible. Go ahead.
I think you are muted.
Okay, sorry.
You all right? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, you are going to permit me because I have to stop by on the road so that I can, like Mr. Blue first said, I can volunteer to be part of this program. And I know it's worthwhile for thousands of people that will likely get in touch with this program in future. And those that are watching, hundreds of them that are watching now, I just have to give this time out. Yes, back to the quality of education in Nigeria. The truth of the matter is that Mr. Buluwatife have said so many things, from which there is no way we can take them away from the definition of things within Nigeria. Take for instance, we oftentimes people look at the tertiary education as the end result of everything. Have we take time to look at our primary education system? What do we think that an average secondary school leaver in Nigeria can do? Do you think that they will be productive, or do you think that they are productive presently? Now, I asked myself a particular question when I was in my final year in University of Lagos. I asked, I said, the University of Lagos was established in 1962. And ever since 1962, University of Lagos has been producing first-class students in every department at every convocation ceremony annually. So it means that as at the 50th year of establishment of the University of Lagos, University of Lagos must have produced over 1,000 first-class students. And I ask, where are the 1,000 first-class students? Where is their impact? We are only talking of University of Lagos. What of University of Ibadan? What of OAU? What of ABU Zaria? What of UNN? What of FUTA? What of Unilorin? And so on and so forth. The issue is that in Nigeria, we don't understand that our education have a purpose, and that purpose is to provide solution. Today we have graduate litter everywhere that could not provide solution. Now, what are the things we need to be considering now? What are the things we need to be talking about now? The thing we need to be talking about, first of all, is that we should look for a way to revoke the licenses of these private institutions that have caused the public institutions, the public primary school, public secondary school, and public universities, a kind of backwardness. We have to revoke their licenses first. Then our government has to invest in public schools. If you look at the Western world, their universities are not as easy in terms of the resources to meet up. In terms of finances, their universities are not as cheap as we may think. But then there are things that government have put in place to make it easy for the students, because they know that these students, they are the end result of their society. Extracurricular activities. You see, like in Oxford, Harvard, they will say if you can play tennis, if you have any talent in swimming, if you have any talent in boxing, if you can be able to win a particular championship, we are going to give you a scholarship to study in Oxford. We are going to give you a scholarship to study in Harvard. What happens to us? I remember vividly back then in my secondary school days, where we have sporting activities, very firm. Although we may not have the best of facilities to run these sporting activities, but then the commitment was there on the part of the school and on the part of the student. And even the parents were always there at the back to cheer the student up, to cheer their kids up. And so we will move from one school to the other, from one local government to the other, to go and sprint. And at the end of the day, we'll be comfortable that we have won a medal for our school. They will call you out of the assembly ground. That's also person won a medal for the school, and you'll be very happy. Extracurricular activities, we have neglected it. All students cannot end up as engineers. All students cannot end up as doctors. But I'm telling you, if we have the right teachers in place, we have the right facilities in place, we have the government providing the right policies, and we have parents backing the students up, the children up, and giving them the commitment needed as parents, every student that passes through the four walls of school will be useful in one way or the other. And in the end, we see the impact on our society. I remember back then when I was watching a particular video on the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama. Barack Obama said there was a certain time that his mother will have to switch off the TV. We'll have to spare some time early in the morning, around 4 a.m., 5 a.m., to read some books to him so that he can be able to be useful. And that same man today will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents America will ever have. And he has done not only America proud, he has done the black race proud. Again, you will have the incoming president of the United States Joe Biden is saying that his grandfather will tell him, Joe, keep the faith. But he said his mother will tell him, Joe, spread the faith. Where are our parents? Where are they? It all starts from the choice of the friends we make, the choice of the wives we marry, the choice of the husbands we marry. Like I used to tell you, that planning is the bedrock of everything. We have a society that emerged from nowhere. So if we don't plan, then it means that we are planning to fail. So in terms of funding from government, in terms of serious policies from the administrators, in terms of employing the right people into the teaching service, and again, the way we even admit people into the colleges of education, you bear witness with me. Mr. Fadmo, you bear witness with me that many people who find themselves in the University of Education or colleges of education in Nigeria are individuals probably that must have tried the university, they didn't get it. They tried the polytechnic, they didn't get it, and they say, they gave me college of education, so let me don't waste my time, let me go there and spend 3 years so that when I get to I can be able to tell my colleagues that I'm also in school. And so do you know what funny thing these days? Though JAMB itself, we can say that is not the right tool as far as I'm concerned. It's not the right way of judging who should be in the university or who should be in the higher institution. But do you know what JAMB does these days? If you are going into the university, they will say you need to have 200 and above. If you are going into polytechnic, they say you have to have probably 150 or 160 and above. Right? But if you are going into college of education, they say just bring your WAEC certificate. Then bring the evidence of your JAMB result. Then come and take the course. That's what they do in the colleges of education. And these are individuals that you are preparing to come and teach us.
Okay, Tunde, see, it wasn't like that during my own days, though, but then let me go to Timilani, okay? Maybe I will come back. Maybe I will come back to you, okay? If I have time, I will come back to you, okay? But then I want to quickly go to Tunde. Immediately after Tunde, I would want Mr. Bolutife to please, restate again that idea so that the people that are watching us now will hear that idea from you. And I'm looking at, taking it beyond talk. Let us start the action. If possible, maybe we just look at what we can do with it. Because I think many more Nigerians, people who are in the rural areas especially, I have passion for people that are in the rural areas. Because I think some of the people in the cities don't have interest themselves. Some of them have data. But looking at people who doesn't have access to data or doesn't have computer. So Timlain, I want you to, as you as a young graduate, I want you to comment on unemployment and unemployable youths or graduates rather.
Yes, thank you. So all these things still boils down to the way our education is generally. So many people now go to school just because they want to be employed and no other reason. Meanwhile, education is supposed to be born out of passion for something, for some particular thing, because no education whatsoever, whichever type, that is easy. There is no education that is easy. So at some point, you want to say, I'm no longer interested in this, but it is the passion that will keep you going. So by the time you finish, even if jobs are not forthcoming, you can start something on your own if it is something you are really passionate about. So this is where parents' input should come in. Parents should be able to tell their words the course you want to go and do. Let us hear from you, not just you must be a medical doctor or you must be an engineer or you must be a lawyer. Even lawyers are now looking for jobs everywhere now. Medical doctors, they are looking for a job, honestly speaking, in Nigeria anyway. So so this kind of imposition from parents that you must study engineering has to stop. We have to look at these children, let them search themselves what they are really passionate about, because when they study what they are passionate about, in fact, inspirations will come. If it is something you are committed to, you are committed to, you are very passionate about it. So now when we have graduates that finish from this kind of programs that they are passionate about and they are unable to get jobs, or maybe they go for interview. In fact, many of them will not even go for interviews at the end of the day. I have many friends that they finished and they have not gone back to that school to get their transcript or whatever, because they were made right on campus. So a university or a place of study or an institute of learning is supposed to be a place that will open your mind to possibilities, to opportunities. So it is not necessarily to just go there and study geology and know only about rocks. Go there and study about cadaver as a medical student only, or study about law only. You have to be, I don't know, there has to be something that is pushing you in the first instance to get educated, not to be someone's employee at the end of the day. I was telling someone that, right, I knew I was, if I didn't travel when I finished school, I knew what I was going. I was at the worst that will happen is I will end up inside Baggy Market. I already mapped out what I was going to do in the next 5 years. If the graduate assistant job is not coming, I knew what I was going to do because there was something I was passionate about and that I'm still very passionate about. Even I'm not in Nigeria, I'm still running the same thing. So there is a place for passion, and that is what will make everybody, that will give you, if you do what you are supposed to do well, that you are passionate about, there will be opportunities in it. So now when we talk about unemployment, like we said, the things that drive economy in Nigeria now, let me say the major thing now is our political class that drive the economy. Whether you want to get a job, they have to decide it. If you are getting a job, a good position, maybe in a public institution, then you really have to know somebody. So they are the one driving it. The major companies, they have privatized it. So they are the one driving it. Everything. So it means you are made to depend on the political class. So the earlier you understand this, the better for you. So that you will not end up finishing with a 4.92 and going back to the farm. In fact, if you are going back to the farm, you will go back creatively. You will go back and come out with something that is not common. You shouldn't be identified with a peasant farmer if you passed through school. So there will be something different about you and that people will say. So I really appreciate the fact that that we have all talked about what we can do about the educational system in Nigeria, but I quickly want to add these two things. I don't know if this is the last chance I have to talk for today's session. So I want to encourage, or let me say, make it known that private institutions can do very well. I mean, private organization, companies, they can support the educational system of Nigeria. Like, if I give it to Cowbell, they have always been doing this Cowbellpedia, and they have been raising giants through this program. If every private company can follow suit, if they can encourage people not just to know what is, you can see these people, there is there is aptitude for learning. You would see when you watch this program, there is something that pours up inside you. You would be like, oh my God, I wish this is my son. I wish this is my daughter. So this kind of thing, you would know that if you took your child to a special center for a WAEC, such child cannot come and mount the podium to display this kind of talent. It is not possible. So you even want to encourage diligence. So if GT Bank, Access Bank, First Bank, Golden Penny Noodles, Indomie, all of them can do the same thing. There is enough room, there is space for all these things to happen. We cannot always depend on the government that is not even hearing what we are doing. They don't feel the pain, because the only way they can feel it is when their children are in the school in Nigeria. They are in the same system. If they are in the system, they will feel it. By the time your child tells you that, daddy, so lecturer did not come to class today, then you would, what was he doing? And you are in a place of position, then you can even turn things around, but they don't even know anything that is happening at all. Someone said, I think it was in 2015, that she doesn't believe that some people live, that they sleep under the bridge in Lagos. A public office holder in Nigeria said that. And that is because she truly and sincerely didn't know. So they are not close. They are not close to the locals. They don't know what's happening behind what's happening in the rural areas. They don't even know anything because they fly private jets all the time and they don't even. And when it is the time for them to experience what gridlock means in Lagos, they will pass them and everything will go freely. So they don't even have a feel of it at all. And secondly, our religious institutions, they can also do well to encourage quality education and not just the Agberu Beso, as the village boy said, Agberu Beso. So you would want to learn if at every angle you look in church, in the mosque, they encourage it. When you get back home, they encourage it. The government is doing its part and everybody is doing. Then that is why I love the word holistic. That he said that when we are holistic about it, everybody is playing his or her part, then we will be able to do it. But I strongly recommend that private companies that they look into our supporting education in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Timlay. So we'll have the village boy to give us, if possible, if you would like to repeat that idea. It's a concept that I've been thinking about. I've been ruminating over it, and I thought maybe I was out of my mind, but I'm glad to have heard it from you.
Okay, thank you very much. Basically, if you want to give it a kind of a name, let's call it Volunteers Rescue Mission. Volunteers Rescue Mission. We have to rescue our education. We have to compile information. We have to use YouTube platform like this. We have to find a way we can compile all this information, all these enriching information, mind blowing information towards achieving functional education. The objective is to have a functional education. A functional education that comprises the three layers of education: informal, formal, and non-formal. And of course, we are doing this mindful of that there are a lot of people who don't even have access to textbook. In the first instance, there are schools in the rural areas that the old school there may be only one or two teachers. So if you can start compiling this thing, I know CDs are no technology for many of us, but we have to look at those who may still need the CD technology. You can put some of this into CD, into DVD, and we maybe in a community, yes, you need the big screen, but with simple laptop and projector in a hall, you can bring all these children and to come and watch these things. Let them learn. You can also, for some even school that have a computer in their system, you can send this thing to them. They like maybe create a software around it, which they can. You break it into subject by subject, and you bring subject expert to come and at various levels, those who can speak to children in elementary school, in primary school, watering down the language. Then for those in middle school, then for those in high school. So when we create a database for this, and you reach out to people of goodwill, all over the world, you can spread the tentacles. That's why I'm thinking. I don't don't really have direct contact with them, but I know I'm in that group, but I've not been functional. But I've read a lot of wonderful things they have been posting. It's called Concerned Parents and Educators Networks. I think it was started by one Mrs. Yinka Ogunde, like that. So let them expand the scope of what they are doing to start collecting information like this, building a database where even over time schools proprietors can be made to subscribe to it. But most especially for public school, these are the things we have to probably do for them for free. We have to have a way of taking this to school, or like Paul self to his village, but he doesn't have to remain in his own village now, because now, since all of us are involved, we all also have our own village too. So of course I want my own village to be partaker too. So let's take to villages. It is good to start from your own Jerusalem. I do appreciate that. But now, since the idea is now beyond you, it's beyond me now. So we are making the idea open, and we are inviting people of goodwill, to come and volunteer. We have first parties of virtually everywhere. Let us rescue our nation from education rescue mission. No, to make our education more functional, because education still remains a veritable tool to overcome generational poverty. I have said it, and I've said it over many of us. We are almost going to third or fourth generation of poverty before education came. And that is why many of us in the Southwest seems to owe a lot of allegiance to our Lord for introducing free education to us. So, and we are glad he did. So, and you remember those are our parents are committed. They are committed to the success of their children, these parents, most of them were not educated. I've seen women during our time who will sell their gold, sell their jewelry, sell their clothes to educate their children. Education was not that expensive then, but then they gave the commitment. Then we also have students also who will be willing to learn. Education is much more than certificate. Education is much more than the grade you have. What is the knowledge that you have acquired? So, because one thing is important, the education should be able to bring positive changes in you, in your conduct, in your action, in your thinking. Then we also have to, again, get back to our school system, the teaching of history, the teaching of civic responsibility, civic engagement. You have to bring to our school critical thinking. Critical thinking. We have to stop. The education we inherited from the colonial master is to prepare us for clerical work. Now, I think it was, I don't know whether Timine or Tunde are talking about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is also beyond buying and selling. I can go to China, buy equipment, and call myself an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is innovation, being innovative. Why, with education, we can solve our electricity problem. And by the time we solve our electricity problem, we are solving our poverty problem. If today we have uninterrupted power supply in Nigeria, the poverty level will reduce. Because there will be multiplier effect, there will be value chains everywhere in agriculture. Look at what happened in telecommunication. If we fix our electricity today, and we have like Tunde was saying, we have schools turning out first class electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and this guy cannot even fix the pepper grinder that has been making noise, waking us 4 a.m. since 1960. He's still making the same noise now. The neighborhood, the Yazule in front of the house, that when he starts his pepper grinder at 4 a.m., that you will suddenly wake. The noise is still there up till now. So why can't students go to the lab or whatever they call it and pieces this thing and produce improved one, silent one that will not be waking us at 4 a.m. again? That's just one thing. Why can't we say, okay, why can't we convert our Tiger generator to irrigation pumping machine? This is a simple thing that even technical school can do. So let's give education what it deserves. Make it functional. Let us aggregate both informal, formal, and non-formal education as a mean of, as a rescue mission to save our society. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much. Okay, you talked about many things, but there's an idea that I'm currently working on. All right, my study that I was talking about last year is proposing that early childhood education can actually be introduced to people in rural areas using CDs, and I'm glad you mentioned it. In fact, when I started this page, It was known as ABPL. Okay, it was known as ABPL Live Share. There was a guy, a friend of mine who is in the US, who we agreed that we are going to be conducting some, thought-provoking interviews. And then what we will do is that we will put them on CDs, and then we will take it to schools in Nigeria, just to give the average Nigerian child, especially those in the rural area or those in slums, just to give them an idea that there is a life that is more than what they have been exposed to, so that at least people start thinking first. You see, as a my profession actually helped me to know that the best part in humans is the brain. So when you are unable to think, you are finished. When you are unable, like the guy who are, you open my eyes to it. Like the guy who was first class, and he went, he would become a farmer, and all he had is a hoe and a cutlass, which means he did not manufacture. He couldn't think out of the box. That's the implication of it. See, the first time I saw in India, when you see people talking the way we eat sugar cane in Nigeria, we have sugar cane in our village. So we cut it with cutlass or knife now, and you are using your teeth to peel it like this. But in India, people who have not gone to school, they have designed a machine whereby they are just putting the log of the stick of sugar cane. They are putting it in the machine, and it's doing grrrr, and then they just put a cup on the other side, and what they are getting is the juice. So nobody is using their teeth to peel this thing. This is just small thing that does not even take anything to do. When I was a child, I used to use tin tomato and tin milk. I used to use it to beat a car. I used to beat it into different kind of vehicles. So, and this I was a child then, but I don't know what happened to us. A lot of things have changed. So I'm thinking that this is something that we just have to take beyond rhetoric. We have to take it beyond theory. We have, because maybe the few people that are listening to us, I don't know, maybe some of them are even privileged. So if you are interested in this, please do reach out. Okay, do reach out. This is something that we can do to give back. I'm sure the four of us that are on this platform right now will be willing to key into it. Tunde is in Nigeria, who will be able to, give advice, and then perhaps give us an understanding of what we could do and how we can go about this thing. All right, because this is an idea that I wouldn't want it to just go like that. Tunde, please give your final word.
All right, thank you. All right. Let me quickly chip in something before I conclude on
You should
that
take
issue, that
only 1 minute,
idea.
Tunde. We-
Okay, okay, I will. So let me quickly chip in something that there is this kind of chain in education that they call ideate, innovate, create, and at the same time educate. When we follow this process, we can always get ourselves somewhere. Like you said, once something happens to the mind, the brain of the man, that man cannot ideate, cannot think of anything. And once you cannot ideate, you cannot talk of innovation. Now, as a means of conclusion, I will say that from experience, when we volunteer to educate other people, we won't even know that particular point in time that we will not want to even stop. We want it to continue. Because whether we are being paid or we are not being paid, we see the things that we ourselves we are dreaming to become coming out of that volunteering to educate others. I have found an example of it when I served, and I discovered that within the community there's no way to make the children learn. And I discovered that the children like football. And I say, okay, if I have to introduce football to the children, it will be as if I'm introducing what they already know. So I say, okay, the core members, let's introduce volleyball. So we started, we didn't invite the children, we started volleyball, started playing volleyball. Little time you see kids come around, say, please throw it to me, throw it to them, they throw it back, throw it to them, throw it back. Say, okay, no, next time this is the way you throw it, this is the way you volley, this is the way you spike. Before you know it, within 1 year, we have been able to build a team of not less than 30 people. And in the morning, in the evening, they will come around to play. By the time we left, they keep calling us, when are you coming back so that we can play? These are means through which we can volunteer and by so doing educate our society. We have a lot of potential within Nigeria. Only if we can volunteer by helping others to learn. Thank you for inviting me here, and I want to thank all other panelists who have contributed. The village boy. I also am a village boy, and I'm happy to meet you. I also want to thank the other guests. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Tunde. Tunde, thank you so much. You're welcome. I really appreciate you, especially because you're probably on your way from work now. We can, I think there's light in Nigeria, and we can hear the police noise too. Anyway, Tunde, your final, Timileyin, I mean, your final word on this program tonight. 1 minute.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. So I just want to chip in something about volunteering too. It doesn't always have to be about the material aspect of it. It doesn't have to be about the money. It could just be the time. Some people and I want to say that volunteering, I have benefited a lot from volunteering, and I have to say, with confidence, that my scholarship at UBC Vancouver was not about my grade alone, was not about maybe my aptitude for academics. It was also through volunteering, because through volunteering, I was surprised when they were asking me what I have done for my community, what I have done for people around me, for my society, and what my plans are for the future for Nigeria and for Africa at large. So it was easy for me because throughout my university education, I was from one organization to the other. I was volunteering, so it was easy for me to just pick out of pool of volunteering experiences, and I just brought about 3 of them that I know they were very significant, and I brought out the numbers, and through these, I was able to get the scholarship. So for anybody that might want to contribute, that might want to be a part of a team, it does not necessarily, let me say, require that you bring money or that you bring any resources other than time. So, and it will definitely pay off, because apart from the experiences you get from there, it will also open ways for you. Thank you, and thank you so much for coming on today, the village boy. I'm very pleased to meet you, and I hope someday we'll meet up in Canada.
Thank you so much, Timileyin. And I'm glad that Timileyin, emphasized the fact that money is not an issue. In fact, I don't have money, so it's not going to be about money. It's about contact. First of all, contact. CD does not even cost anything. CD does not cost anything, okay? So let's assume that we want to put it in CDs. It doesn't cost anything. If you want to, even if you need what do you call it now? Maybe projector. There are people through contact, you know somebody in Ibadan, or you know somebody in your village who are, maybe they have a small church where they have a small projector. We can borrow it and use it. In fact, the church can even be, the church or the mosque might be a center, where such things can be projected. We need people who might be able to do a little bit of what do you call it? Interpretation, or breaking down into different languages, because we wouldn't want language to be a barrier. All right. So, and if you want us to also look at your village, also these are things that we need to brainstorm about. So it's not about money. Money is not even a major issue here. But we need people who are interested. If you have interest in what we are talking about, please do reach out. And it's also important that you please help us share this, so that other people who are not live now would be able to see it, and there may be some of them who are interested. The village boy, please give your final word.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, for let's start the education rescue mission. So let's put this in paper. For projector, I can tell you at this snap of my finger, I can supply one projector in Lagos.
Oh.
If you want it today, you can get a projector from me. So let us do this. You guys are younger, put this together, call it. Well, you can change the name with me. Let's put this to action immediately. Education
Sure.
rescue team.
Yes, sir.
Rescue mission to Nigeria. So let us reach out to people, reach out to people in your area of influence. Let's get this thing done. Like we
Thank
just
you
have,
so much.
yeah.
We are
And
so
for the
great.
guy who wants to be village boy again, you have to pay Shakole to the older village boy. And yeah, it's good to have me. When I see young people like this that are still, are disarticulate, so my hope in Nigeria is renewed. Thank you for, yeah, you give me joy about our future.
Thank you so much.
So,
I'm so
Tinila, you get
grateful.
my contact from Paul and let us connect. Also, Bakunde too.
All
Connect
right.
all of us together.
Yes, definitely. We would have to stay connected, especially because of this education rescue mission. Thank you very, very much. It has been my pleasure, and I did not expect it to be this way, but that's turned out to be beautiful, and I'm loving it. I'm grateful. Thank you so much for all that viewed, all the people that stood with us since the beginning till the end. Thank you very much. Please do share and follow us, follow the page. It's Opinion Sharers. The purpose of this page is to create education that schools does not deliver, education that universities does not teach, and that's the purpose of this platform. And if you have an opinion, you have a very strong opinion about Nigeria, about Africa, you want to communicate, or you have something you think the world needs to hear, please do reach out. Thank you so much. Till we will come back again. You'll be seeing a lot of these faces, and then you'll be seeing some other faces on this platform. But thank you for tonight. Bye bye.
Bye bye.